Yo, what is up, guys? It's Nice Creator here. It's been a long time since I made a video, so I decided I wanted to make another tier ranking video. This time I'm going to be doing the Apex Legends weapons, all the guns, all the types of weapons that you can get in the game. So let's just get right into it. So first off, we want to start off with the R301. This is a very consistent weapon. If you can get the right attachments on it, it can be very accurate from long ranges and short ranges. It's really good if you tap strafe and all that. If you crouch spam, really consistent weapon, and it's also great for hip firing. So I'm gonna put that into the A tier for now. The R99 Smg. Now this is a very fast shooting, very consistent weapon if you get the right attachments as well. It's a very accurate weapon, and it's surprisingly not bad with long range fights. It's actually can kind of hold its own. Yeah, very consistent, very it's a very fast shooting weapon, so you could probably kill an enemy in like a second, around a second, if you have like a full extended clip on that. So I think it's way better than the R301, so I'm gonna have to put that in the S tier. The bow check. Now with the bow, this is the Shattercaps bow. However, I feel like shotguns are way better. A shotgun is way better to have than the Shattercaps, because the Shattercaps, they have even though shotguns may have inconsistent damage, I feel like the bow check compound with the Shattercaps, I feel like you hit a lot of there's a lot of shots that you will like do like very low damage, and it'll occur a lot more compared to the shotguns. This is alright mid-range, however long range I wouldn't recommend it. I'm gonna have to put that in the D tier. The Deadeye Tempo bow, I think it's slightly better. It allows you to allow to have more consistent shots on, be more dead on enemies from long range. So I think I'm gonna have to put that in the C tier. Original bow check bow, it's actually this season 13, it's very good. I've been getting demolished by this. I've used it a couple times and I've been hitting shots. It's very good. It's very consistent. Way better than the two attachment ones. I think the original compound bow is way better than these two. So I'm gonna have to put that in the B tier. And matter of fact, I think I'm gonna put this one higher, because this will allow you to be more accurate with your shots. The car SMG, um, I think this is way better than the R99, because it allows you. It's a faster, slower rate. It's a slower fire rate, but however, it's very much accurate, and it still has about the same amount of ammo as the R99. It'll allow you to hit shots more frequently. So I'm gonna have to put that better than the R99. So the Devotion with the Turbocharger, honestly, it's got to be one of the best LMG weapons to have, especially if you're playing Rampart. It allows you to have a bigger mag size. So I think the Devotion, it's got to be one of the best with the Turbocharger. So I'm gonna have to put that over in S tier. I think it's way better than the car and way better than the R99. It will allow, if you have Turbocharger and you know how to hit your shots, this will be a very deadly weapon. Now, the original Devotion, so the problem with this one is this has like the turbocharger, the turbocharger is going to have a faster charge up time, whereas the regular Devotion, it ain't going to be as fast. However, it's still going to be very good once you get the full fire rate in there, with the right attachments and everything in there. So I'm going to have to put that on a low A. Eve Auto, this has got to be one of the worst weapons, honestly, in Season 13. It's got a slow fire rate unless you get, like, a good shotgun bolt. However, the damage on this weapon whenever you hit, it's just not consistent enough, and it's just not great. So, it's got to be one of the worst weapons in this season, so I'm going to have to put that over in trash. I think it's the absolute worst weapon in here. Okay, so the Flatline. Flatline, my personal favorite, and I think it's honestly one of the best. This is a hip fire machine. If you know how to hip fire well, and you know how to crouch spam, this is going to be a deadly weapon for you. And plus, it's very good for mid-range, very good for short range, and it's alright whenever it comes to long range. Actually, you know what? I think it's pretty good for long range. So, and also, it has a clip size of 30, so once you get the full extended clip, So once you have that 30 clip size plus some really good attachments, this will become a very great weapon to use. So I'm gonna put this. I'm putting this on the top of S just to keep this in mind. This is just my personal opinion. You might not agree with it, but um, you can disagree in the comments if you want. Next is the Havoc Rifle Turbocharger. Honestly, I think this weapon is probably I think this weapon is very broken. Because if you get the right attachments and everything, it's very consistent. I'd say it's better than the Devotion, because this will allow you to hit your, like, with the size of this weapon, and then with the iron sights and all this, it's really good. It's way better than the Devotion's iron sights. Very good. And with the turbocharger, that just makes it instantly better than the Devotion. I mean, they're both kind of equal. However, the Devotion, um, I feel like has a little bit of a disadvantage because of its iron sight. However, the Havoc rifle, very good, very consistent. Get the right attachments, it's going to be a machine. Normal Havoc rifle, I think I'm gonna have the same argument with the Devotion. So it's not gonna be as good as the turbocharger ones. However, it's still a great weapon once you get that charge up time on there. So Hemlock with the boosted loader, I think I'm gonna have to put the Hemlocks. I think I'm gonna put the Hemlocks here. Boosted loader and the Hemlock burst AR, I feel like they both just have, they're both great weapons. With the boosted loader, if get the time right, you'll get more bullets in the clip. So that's a good advantage for the Hemlock, for the burst AR, and then standard burst AR. These are both very consistent weapons. The 3-round burst, however, they are very accurate and most of the time is going to hit shots for you. And I think they're both great weapons, even for like close range fights. Um, it's going to be a great weapon for you to use in close range fights, because you got you're going to hit shots a lot if you know how to you have the right attachments and you know how to crouch spam. I mean, you could basically say the same thing for all these weapons, but I feel like the Hemlock is a great weapon. I've won a lot of fights with the Hemlock. Kraber, so I'm gonna put this. So they nerfed it, so now it doesn't exactly one shot if they have full shields plus a helmet. That's better than a gray. So, however, I still think it's a good weapon. So, honestly, but I don't use this weapon enough. I don't really find snipers to be my type of preference. So I'm gonna have to put this in a low S though, but it's still a great weapon to use. The Longbow Dmr, I think this is a pretty average weapon. It's not great damage-wise, but it's very good accurate-wise if you know how to land shots and all that. Just like, the Kraber, you gotta know how to land shots in order for that thing to also be a great weapon, a dangerous machine. However, its damage is just kind of low. I wish it had a better damage. I wish it had better damage considering it's a sniper. So I'm gonna have to put this in the C tier. I don't think it's awful, but I don't think it's great either. Okay, Mastiff shotgun with the dual shell. This is basically you just reload with 2 shells in the uh, in the actual gun itself. Mastiff shotgun. So they put this in the care package. However, it's a dual shot. So I never the Mastiffs they're great weapons. However, I don't consider them one of the best. Um, I will say I would put them above these weapons, but I say it's a good A tier. If you know how to land shots, and these are pretty good weapons for headshots as well. You could do up to, I think, like 100. Last time I got it was like 106 damage with a headshot, so these are pretty good weapons. That's what I got last time, but I think they're alright shotguns. Before season 13, they were pretty garbage because they wouldn't land damage consistently. However, I feel like it's more balanced here, more consistent here. L-Star, the L-Star, I'm gonna have to say I think it's better than the Havoc and Devotion just without the turbocharger. L-Star, I feel like it's a very consistent weapon. I feel it to be pretty good damage too. And especially if you have Rampart, you're going to have a bigger clip size. So that's a big advantage there. But I mean, you could say the same for the Devotion. but I feel like for the L-Star, it's got good attachments that you can put on. Um, so it's definitely a great weapon to use. I definitely recommend it over the Havoc or Devotion. Mozambique with hammer point. So I would put this over in, I'd say it's probably right there. Mozambique with hammer point, especially considering if you get a good shotgun bolt and it has a high fire rate along with the hammer point, then that thing can be a machine. That thing, it's definitely a good shotgun to use. So I definitely recommend it with hammer point if you can find hammer point. I'm not sure if it's great for late game. I don't ever use it for late game. However, I've used it a couple times, and it's definitely a great shotgun to use to get out of situations, like certain situations, like if you need to get out of a situation where to run out and you're getting third party, you could definitely get out of there. Mozambique, you could possibly, destroy teams with this. You just gotta know how to land shots correctly, and you know, you gotta be accurate with it and everything like that. Regular Mozambique, however, without hammer point, I probably put it in a C tier. It's definitely kind of just, it's not a bad weapon, it's just not great either. Um, but the hammer points definitely, ups the damage. However, the standard Mozambique, it kind of has low damage, so I don't really like that. Okay, so this is the Alternator SMG. Um, Honestly, it's not that great of a weapon. I'd say it's a C tier, low C. Um, it has a slow fire rate, but it has low damage, and it's not a very good weapon to use personally. I've had experiences where I keep dying constantly with the Alternator SMG because I get a low clip size. Although with a good clip size, with a good extended mag, it's definitely a pretty good weapon to use. I definitely put it above all these, the Longbow and the Mozambique. But the Alternator, I think it's a pretty average weapon. Matter of fact, I wouldn't put it at B. I think it's definitely a good weapon. It's definitely like a pretty average weapon to use, I'd say. P2020 with hammer point. This is definitely like a low A for me. I have used the P2020 with hammer point, and it does hit. If you once you know how to hit shots, if you land consistent shots, it's definitely a dangerous weapon you can use. However, it's definitely, I'd recommend using the hammer point with the Mozambique, or hammer points with the Mozambique shotgun over the P2020, because at least with the Mozambique, you'll consistently be hitting shots with that spread, other than the P2020, where it's just a single bullet. And then the standard P2020, definitely trash. Definitely not a good weapon to use. It's kind of low damage and everything like that. Definitely one of the worst weapons to have. Peacekeeper with kinetic finder, basically you just slide and it will, if you aim down sights, it's going to be able to lock on faster. You basically have better accuracy with it if you're sliding. With the, I'd say it's definitely good. They're good shotguns. I'm going to have to put the Peacekeeper here. I'm gonna have to put the Peacekeepers here. I'd say it's a pretty good weapon. I've used it a couple times, and I do land shots. Sometimes it can be inconsistent, but most of the time, for me personally, I've been able to land shots and all that. So I definitely say it's good weapons to have. Um, However, late game, I wouldn't recommend it because there's you might potentially not be getting into super close fights unless it's like a super close circle. Now with the Prowler, I definitely have to put that in a low S. I think this is a very consistent weapon. It's a 5-round burst, and if you have an extended clip, it's going to be very deadly. With the Prowler burst, with good attachments and all that. It could definitely be dangerous, and it's also good for close to mid range. Long range, it's not consistent enough to be that great, but however, if you're going from mid to close range, it's definitely a weapon I would recommend. Now the Rampage Lmg, I'm gonna have to put this like in S tier. If you hit the Thermite with the Rampage, it's definitely gonna become a deadly combo. Put the Thermite in, and you're basically just gonna be wrecking everybody in the opposite enemy squad. It's definitely a weapon I would recommend. And with this season, you get to literally buy it from the craft station. it's definitely a weapon I would recommend. And you can only get it, and you can buy it for like, I think 30. So it's definitely a weapon. So if you go to an area that has those building materials, and then you put it in a you put it in a crafting station, you basically have a weapon that's going to be already deadly in your hands. And with the good attachments, yeah, this will definitely be a wrecking machine. It's very good for mid range and good for close, mid, and long range. With the RE45 hammer point, I have to put this in a one of the higher tiers of A. RE45 with hammer point, way better than P2020 with hammer point, and I'd say way better than Mozambique with hammer point, because this thing is a full auto pistol, and with an extended clip, you can get like 25 bullets in the clip. It's definitely a deadly weapon that you would use, and it's good for close to mid range fights. So if you're crouch spamming, it's definitely gonna be you most likely be if you can hit your shots, you'll most likely be winning the fight with the RE45. And I've used the RE45 with hammer point, and it's definitely a deadly weapon to use. Regular RE45, I'm gonna say it's in the same tier as the alternator. Definitely, just like it's a pretty average weapon. Um, with this one, you get like 16 bullets in the clip, and that's just not enough to like be able to down an enemy with one clip. So it's a good starting weapon. However, if you don't find hammer point, you might want to get rid of it later on. G7 Scout, this is one of those weapons that's also in the care package. However, I do not like this weapon. For me personally, it's a low B. I mean, like, it's an average weapon. It's not bad. It's just not for me. I mean, you can have the double tap trigger on it too, but it's definitely just not a weapon that I would recommend late game. I definitely recommend something like the Mastiff or the Kraber. Um, and then you also have the Volt that's in the care package too. I just wouldn't recommend using the G7 Scout as one of your care package weapons. Sentinel with Deadeye's Tempo. So I'm putting this. I'm gonna put this right here. It's definitely not better than the Peacekeeper, but I'd say it's better than the L-Star. So if you know how to hit your shots, here, let me put this the other way. So if you know how to hit your shots with the Sentinel, plus you have the charge with the shield cells, definitely will be a deadly combo. You can get headshots that can land like 160, and then like body shots that can land like around 80 to 90. So it's definitely a weapon I would recommend, and especially with Deadeye's Tempo, you get to you're gonna have a better time landing shots. Um, Along with the shield cell charge up, that would definitely be a deadly combo right there. So I'd recommend it. For late game, I'd say it's a pretty good weapon for late game because it's very good for long range if it's a long range circle. So, however, if it's a close range, it's not like you'd have to know how to like quick scope or I guess like no scope with the Sentinel. So if you know how to do that, that will be a deadly combo as well. M600 Spitfire, that's got to be the most broken right now. In Season 13, this is I've killed more enemies with the Spitfire than I have with the Flatline, and that's saying something. The Flatline is a consistent, very... I say it's kind of a balanced weapon. However, the M600 Spitfire, definitely probably one of the most broken. Matter of fact, I'm going to put the Rampage up here, because this is also a much more broken than the Flatline. Both of these LMGs are both broken. The Spitfire, however, it's just more consistent. It has a greater mag size, and with the right attachments, this will become deadly. And they basically removed the barrel stabilizer that used to be here. Now it's just a stock. It's a mag size, and then it's an iron sight. However, they removed the barrel from Season 13, so now it is literally easier to get a broken weapon, because now you don't need 4 attachments. You just need 3. So the Spitfire, I've killed more enemies with this. I've shredded squads with this. The M600 Spitfire, definitely the most broken weapon in this season right now. Wingman with the boosted loader, I'd say it's up here, and along with the Wingman. Both of these weapons are, if you know how to hit shots, are going to be deadly, especially with the boosted loader. Once you get that time up right, you're going to have like if you have like a gold mag, a gold extended mag along with the boosted loader, you're gonna have like 11 clips in this, or 11 bullets in the clip. if you get that charge up time, if you get that timing right. So that is definitely, oh, so with that amount of ammo in the clip, that would basically be a deadly combo along with the Wingman. Both of these weapons are pretty good, pretty great weapons to have. 30-30 with dual shell. Um, for me personally, I do not like these weapons. Here, I'm gonna put the shatter caps a little bit better. So the 30-30s, they're not bad, they're just not great either for me personally. You basically have to know how to hit your shots like dead on. However, sometimes it will have that slow recharge time, or that slow fire rate if you aim down sights. However, if you're like hip firing, it's going to be a lot faster. But I just do not like this weapon. It's definitely not a great weapon I would use. It's definitely not a weapon, I would use late game. So definitely not for me. Now both of these weapons, I'm gonna have to put the triple takes are definitely some of the best weapons in the game. So the triple take kinetic feeder along with the triple take, these two are deadly combos with the right attachments. So if you have like a purple stock and then you have a good extended mag, along with a good iron sight, then this will definitely be a long range machine. I've shredded teams with this. I've basically taken down enemies with these. I've cracked shields with these. These snipers are definitely one of the best, or I guess it's a marksman weapon. However, I consider it to be these are two of the greatest snipers to be in the game. The charge rifle, I think it's definitely an average weapon for me personally. I just don't like the weapon all that much. But if in the right hands, the charge rifle is definitely a good weapon to have, because you shoot a laser and that will track the enemy sort of if you are dead on with the laser, and then you get that final shot in, and that can do pretty good amount of damage. So for me personally, it's not for me. However, I do respect what it does and what it can do to teams. So, and for finally the Volt, this is definitely one of the most, this is a pretty great weapon, SMG. I'm gonna have to put it above the flatline. The Volt SMG is a very consistent weapon to have in the care package. I'd say it's way better than R99, because this is more consistent. It has a slower fire rate, but that allows you to be more accurate with your shots. So I definitely recommend you getting the Volt. I think it's the best care package weapon to have in the game right now. So if you manage to find one, I'd recommend picking that up, and it's also great for late game, and it's pretty good for close, mid, and sometimes even long range. So, and then this is my whole tier list. So I definitely, this is just my personal opinion. So this is how I view these weapons. I think these are all great. I think most of these weapons I find great. There are some average, and then some of these I just don't like either. So yeah, this is just my personal opinion. But feel free to, if you want, you can argue in the comments why weapons didn't deserve to be in certain spots, such as that. So thank you guys. So if you guys want to like this video, that would be very much appreciated. I plan on producing more content over the summer, now that I'm out of school and stuff. So, alright guys, thank you. Have a good night.